an appropriate way to apologize?
I wouldn't think so, but who knows with these damn millennials?
You're a millennial. Come on.
Yeah, but I don't understand millennials. Let me ask Tito. Tito, is Instagram an appropriate forum to apologize, or would you rather have like a phone call or an in-person apology, or is Instagram perfectly okay?
I mean, it depends how you do it. You know, if you do like a formal announcement on Instagram, you say you're really, 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 really sorry. Yeah.
I guess you're right in a way that you're making it very public
Okay.
that you are bending the knee, and you were taking the higher
Snow.
road. Yeah, you're Jon Snowing it.
There's a little bit of tongue in cheek if you do it in private, because like if you could say like, "Hey, I'm sorry for what I did" to the person, they don't believe you. But
Could
if
you do
it
both though? Like don't you think because Connor would have no problem. He could just text Dana White, "Hey, can you give me Rose Namajunas' phone number? I'd like to call her and apologize for throwing the dolly through the damn bus and nearly scaring her out of that fight card. I'd like to give her a phone call. Give her a phone call. She accepts your apology graciously because she probably would if it was an actual phone apology. And then you take to Instagram to let the world see it.
Or maybe what you do is you really man up and you go in person and you face him.
I mean,
and he should do it to every person that was on that bus.
And this is the same Conor McGregor when he was in Dublin, Ireland, who decided his teammate had been disrespected, got in a private jet and flew to New York to confront Khabib Nurmagomedov. If he can just hop on a private jet anytime he wants to, he should be landing it in Thug Rose's front yard to apologize.
You're absolutely right. And there's a few other people on that bus that he owes an apology to.
Michael Chiesa, Ray Borg.
Right.
Yeah. And
his own teammate,
Harris.
Artem Lobov.
Yeah, right. Well, Artem was part of that angry mob, so I don't think
he ought to write a check. He ought to write a check to the UFC to get him back in everybody's good graces.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for Lobov.
I gotcha.
All right, we got one more. Do I have time?
Yeah. They want George St. Pierre and Nate Diaz to fight in Los Angeles August 4th. That's a mega fight. Nate Diaz, George St. Pierre. Couple of different components of this, though. What does that mean for Conor McGregor's status? You brought that up to me in our little pre-show chat. And the other thing to me, I want to get to this first. Isn't it weird that they want to do that fight at 155 pounds, where GSP has never fought? His last fight was at middleweight at 185. He wants to drop down now 2 weight classes when, the bulk of his career was spent at 170. Nate Diaz has fought at 170, no problem whatsoever. Why does George St. Pierre want to come all the way down to 155? My theory is that might be a Nate Diaz demand. Because don't you think he feels like his chances are better at 155, where he's fought extensively before? And maybe if he can get George St. Pierre on a bad weight cut, first time dropping down to that weight, that he's not going to have quite the same strength and size advantage over Diaz at 155. It seems like that would favor Nate Diaz.
Yeah, I liked your theory. I don't know that it's that outlandish to consider George St. Pierre coming down in that weight class, though. He had to go through a lot of work to get to 185, so he says. Now he's been suffering from colitis.
Oof.
So I'm imagining by going through that illness, he's probably lost a lot of weight. When he fought at welterweight, he didn't really cut much, did he?
No, I mean not by MMA standards.
Right.
He was maybe cutting from like 185 to 170.
So it's not out of the realm of possibility for him to get back to his natural weight and then just make a cut. What I don't get is why would George St. Pierre go to the lightweight division if he's not grabbing the 3rd gold ring?
Good point.
You beat Nate Diaz. He's a top 10 lightweight, but he's not, you're not in the top 5.
Well, what do you think to him, like you beat Nate Diaz and then you call out Khabib?
But George St. Pierre doesn't have to beat anyone to call out Khabib.
Khabib
wants that fight.
But George St. Pierre is the most calculated guy to ever step in the octagon. He might want to have like the test cut. Like he might say,
right.
Before I fight for title.
Great point, because Nate Diaz, no disrespect to your guy, is tailor-made for George St. Pierre.
Where Khabib Nurmagomedov is not tailor-made for anybody.
Not so much.
Not for anybody.
No.
So don't you think George is saying, this is my first cut down to 155. Let me take. It's turning into Russian. I'm trying to do my French Canadian accent.
I love your theory. He takes care of Nate Diaz. He has a successful weight cut, and then he sits back for the winner of Conor Habib.
I think that's got to be the plan there for GSP.
I think we just deciphered what.
Yeah, of course.
Have you seen Chael Sonnen trash talking Fedor? Did you see it?
Yeah, right after the fight when they awkwardly pulled Chael into the Bellator cage to work the mic, where he's just basically shouting in Fedor's direction, and Fedor is looking back
and
blankly.
didn't really have anything to say, which is unusual for Chael.
Yeah,
is trash talk really trash talk when your opponent doesn't speak your language?
Especially when it's Fedor, right?
Fedor's just staring at him, smiling, have no idea what Chael's saying.
And in fact, if I were Fedor's translator, I'd probably tell him, Fedor, here's what he's saying. You are the greatest ever. I respect you. I have so much love for Mother Russia. I have so much love for your country. You are the best of all time. I don't think I could even translate what Chael was saying. I'd probably just give him a bunch of fluff. But, I mean, Fedor, he's impervious to trash talk anyway. Like, there's no point trash talking that guy. There have been fighters who don't have great command over the English language who you can get under their skin, right? Like Chael Sonnen and now Colby Covington have touched on this sensitive spot that, and this is a cultural thing, that when you make fun of Brazil, even if you're very obviously being over the top and making a joke, that's not the way a lot of Brazilian people will see it. Like, they don't necessarily have the same sort of sense of humor that we have. Like, oh, he's clearly cutting a pro wrestling, like a pro wrestling promo. If you disrespect their country, they're going to take it extremely personally, right? Where I don't think there's anything that Fedor will take personally. Like, that guy is living on his own planet.
Yeah, that's a good description. Speaking of trash talking, did you see Colby Covington come after Joe Rogan?
Yeah, he said he was going to slap him.
And I actually, in this instance, think Colby Covington was in the right here.
Really?
Yeah, we should. I don't know if we have to break, but we should come back.
Do.
Yeah, let's come back on the other side and defend Colby Covington.
All right, Frank Saffrey's going to do that for you next year on QA. Jesse Schechner, editor-in-chief of footandfist.com, joins us here on 560 WQAM. You know, Jesse, a couple of big bits of news. Well, one is really more of a report/rumor. The other is a done deal. We'll start with that. That is the UFC signing this agreement that'll start in 2019 through ESPN. The ESPN Plus digital streaming platform will have 15 live original UFC events per year. Plus, you'll see some cross promotion throughout other ESPN platforms. You'll have some fights replayed. You'll have special pay-per-view pre-shows through the ESPN networks and ESPN Plus. What do you make of this deal? Because I guess the one reservation I have about it as a fight fan is you're telling me I need to pay another monthly subscription for something that I'm going to have to like sit down and do the math on whether I can afford to keep Fight Pass and add the ESPN Plus, or if I need to keep both of those.
Are there any more a masochistic group of fans than MMA fans, specifically UFC fans? And is there any more
it's Miami Dolphin fans?
Yes, okay, in terms of happiness, yeah, but in terms of economics.
Right, that's true.
I got to tell you, man, there's no more sadistic a corporation that oversees a sport than the UFC when it comes to their fans' wallets. Last year, 2017, if I counted correctly, there were 27 non-pay-per-view fight cards. So the 15 fight cards that would be reserved for ESPN Plus still would leave on the table approximately 12 to another 15 fights. Where are those going to go? You can't really imagine that FS1 and Fox would want to kind of lower their roster of fights for that year. They need programming. It's essentially what the entirety of FS1 revolves around. So you have to think that chances are that deal is going to go kaput. So are they going to divvy up the two broadcasts, the two streaming services? Is Fight Pass going to get sort of the Ultimate Fighter going to become exclusively a Fight Pass thing? Are we really just going to go the way of that's going to get dead and we're going to go the Dana White Contender Series? There's still a lot of question marks up in the air, but it just if you still let's say hypothetically that FS1 and Fox retain some kind of broadcast deal. If you decide that you're not going to watch any pay-per-views, not counting pay-per-views alone, you're still spending close to $1,000. It's crazy.
Jesse, it was revealed that the Contender Series is going to go to ESPN Plus 2019. So so it's my opinion. What do you think about this? It's my opinion that the Fight Pass will probably just become a lower subscribed outlet for regional promotions and more obscure fighting
like
sports.
the Invicta and Titan, Glory Kickboxing, stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a market for that. And then, obviously ESPN gets the goodies. And it's my opinion. I think because of what you just said, Jesse, Fox Sports 1 just revolves around UFC. I feel like Fox is going to re-up. I just have a feeling that's how this is going to go.
Well, if UFC Fight Pass doesn't broadcast any exclusive fight cards
right
at the UFC, they're gonna have a decline in subscription. That's just the plain fact. So, are they willing to damage their own product subscription for a short-term deal?